I am Bag Daddy, and it's the Bag Show. In today's show, I want to talk about cancel culture, deplatforming, and the need for acceptance or the need to belong. Um, we're living in a time where if you go against the grain or if you have ideas, I don't even want to say ideas that are not popular, but if you have ideas and you want to express ideas that are not mainstream, not unpopular ideas, ideas that are not mainstream. If you have ideas that are not mainstream, you can get canceled. You can get deplatformed. You can get fired. You can get unfriended, unfollowed. You can become a target for hate, and this comes from the reason we fear this, or the reason people fear this, because we as human beings, we can say we're loners, but we fear loneliness. Deep down, human beings fear being alone, because being a part of a group or being a part of society is necessary for survival. It's necessary for survival. It's necessary for social advancement. It's necessary for everything, to have families, to procreate. You want to be accepted by society. We're living in a time where the mainstream is not controlled, and it's probably never been, but it's controlled by certain interest groups. It's not controlled by the majority. So there's a difference between what a mainstream idea and a majority idea, or a mainstream opinion or an acceptable opinion and a majority opinion. But the reason why it may seem like the mainstream opinion is the majority opinion is because people fear being canceled. They fear being ostracized. They fear being kicked out of the group or looked at as bad. And they use that fear to get us to, if we disagree, we shut up. And if we agree, we say it, boldly or loudly. We agree with whatever who's in control. Whatever group has power, whether it's control over resources or control over policy, or whatever group that has that, they push their agenda, they push their idea, and if you accept that idea, you can move freely. If you don't accept that idea, you cancel, you shut out, they threaten to cut you off. Now, there are certain people that don't fear this. And so the people who do not fear not being accepted by the mainstream, or not being accepted by the perceived majority, are people who have real relationships. Because, and this is one reason why society has us working so hard. They have us stuck in our phones. They have us on apps and social media, and we're not connecting with our families. We're not connecting with our loved ones. We're not connecting with our kids. And we're not connecting in our religious communities because we be so busy. They make life harder. They put the squeeze on you. The economy get rough. You got to work harder to pay bills and all of this. So you lose those deep connections, those deep bonds. You lose, but people with those deep bonds do not fear being canceled or deplatformed or just hated by society, because they have real, like, if you have real friendships, if you have real family, if you have real relationships, you don't worry about the perception of being hated. If you have, you know what I'm saying? Like, if, for example, if you have a real relationship with your employer or with the person you're in business with, they're not gonna dump you or kick you to the curb because you have an idea that's not mainstream. But see, most of us are working for jobs that we don't have a personal relationship with. We work for a big company. We don't know the owners of the company. You know, we don't even know our supervisor that well. So they have no problem if it seems risky to be attached to you. They have no problem cutting you off. And you are not sure if they'll fire you or not if you take a stance that's not mainstream publicly, because you do not have a real connection with them. If you don't have a real connection with your significant other, your wife or your girlfriend or what have you, you don't know if they're going to leave you or cut you off if you disagree with a mainstream opinion or mainstream idea. If you have all these, we have a lot of followers. We get likes and viewers, and they're not friends. Like, we don't have a personal relationship with the owner of the platform. We don't have a personal relationship with YouTube, Instagram. We don't have a personal relationship with these companies, so they can cut us off. We don't know the owner. You know, we don't own it. We don't know the owner. We fear being cut off. We don't have real friends that we trust, that we know. So the only way they can make us afraid of being accepted by people we don't know and people we don't have a real relationship with is because we have not built solid relationships with the people we do know. But if you have a solid, the most difficult people to get to fear deplatforming are people with good relationships with their family members, good relationships with their friends, good relationships with their community, and either they're their own boss or they have a great relationship with their boss. And so you look at people like Tate, Andrew Tate. He deplatformed. But if you look at his life, he makes his own money. His business partner is his brother. His brother got his back. He takes care of his mother. So he's a strong family man. You know, so I've seen a video where he said that he don't care if nobody else agrees with him or nobody else likes him, because he know his brother got his back. And see, that is why they want us to work so hard while we spend so much time looking at our phones and our devices, is by design, because we're not building strong relationships. We're not building strong relationships. So if you don't have a strong relationship with your wife, with your husband, the new mainstream idea come along, the new wave that tell you to treat them like this or treat them like that, or do this, do that, then you're gonna run with it. Because the majority of people are controlled through mainstream ideas and mainstream opinions. whatever the mainstream opinion is, and it doesn't last that long. It don't last forever. It might last 2-3 years, one idea, one wave. It might last 5 years, might last 10 years for some of them. But they create a wave. They promote it in the music, they promote it in the TV shows, it might be something like women's empowerment or LGBT or whatever. They promote this idea, and then they get enough people to start expressing it, and the people who don't have solid relationships or don't have trust or don't have those strong bonds, they just follow the lead. They do what seems like everybody else is doing because they want to be part of that crowd, and it might destroy their whole foundation. And so they just rebuilding. Everybody just stuck rebuilding because it's like, and you're almost forced to go along with it. And the only people who don't go along with it is people who have solid religious communities. They got a church family. They got they Muslim. They got a strong Muslim family, a Muslim community. You got a strong community. You're more worried about your value. You got strong values. You're more focused on your values than mainstream opinion. See, look at the people who don't give a fuck about mainstream opinion. They're either very religious, and or they have strong families, and or they're self-employed, or they work for their family, they work for their friend, they work for, they have more control over what they can express publicly, because they ain't gonna fire me. They agree with me. They agree with me. So I can say this around them. They ain't gonna fire me. I can say this around her. She ain't gonna leave me. I can say this to my followers. Because I don't mind losing 1,000 followers. I don't mind getting blocked. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind getting shadow banned and not getting likes, because I get liked in real life. If you got likes in real life, if real people like you, you ain't worried about getting likes on social media that much. You know what I'm saying? If the people that are looking at you are the people that you care about, the people that you love, the people that you work with and see in everyday life, you're not gonna care so much about getting views or likes. Now it's an opportunity to make money. So a lot of people, even if they don't care about people liking them, because they monetize social media, now it can damage your finances. So you have a lot of content creators who are free now. They're free. Maybe when they started, they wasn't free, but they free now. They thinking for themselves. They got their own opinion. They looking at whatever mainstream thing. I don't agree with that, but I'm making this much money a day off of this platform. And if I say the wrong thing on this platform can be taken from me. And even if I say the wrong thing and it's not on this platform, that's the new thing they just did. You can say something that goes against mainstream ideal of the mainstream stance. You can say it on another platform and get deplatformed from all your platforms for something you said on one platform. So it's becoming a thing, but it's the goal of it is to keep people afraid to think for themselves, afraid to talk for themselves, afraid to say what they really believe. Because if you say what you really believe, then you got the courage to say what you really believe. Most of the time, what you really believe, and people believe different things, But most of the time, what you really believe and what the majority of people really believe makes way more sense than what the mainstream opinion is. Because if you just use your own, even if you don't have guidance, because religion is guidance, you know, ideologies guide us. You got ways of life and stuff. Certain people have ways of life that guide them in decision making. But some people just use their own brain, their own common sense, and they can come to some of the same ideas people can come to through guidance. It just might not be as on point. I think some form of guidance is always better. But a lot of the ideas in mainstream society don't even make common sense. They don't even make common sense. So the most natural, the most uneducated person really doesn't agree with it. They don't agree. It's a probably, I don't know the percentage, but it's probably a small percentage of people that act shit, but they're loud. And they getting some benefit from it, whatever, because, and it rotates as the mainstream idea they push in, as it switches, because the mainstream idea always benefits a section of society. So most of the time, the section it benefits at the moment are going to be loud and vocal and in support of it because it's in their favor. It might not even make sense to them, but it's in their favor. Like it might be a mainstream idea that's pro-black. It might not make sense, but it's in the favor of black people. Black people are going to be loud and vocal in support of it. It might be a mainstream idea that's in the favor of gay people. It might be a mainstream idea that's in the favor of women. It might be one that's in the favor of men. Whether it makes sense or not, if it's in that group's favor, they have an incentive to push it. And they hoping other people don't see that it don't make sense because it's benefiting me. And so I'm gonna push this anyway because I'm making money, I'm doing this, I'm getting this treatment or this benefit from this idea. This ideal is making women feel they need to act like this, so it's gonna benefit men. Ideal is making men feel like they need to act like this, is gonna benefit women. So I'm gonna always stand up for this idea because it's benefiting me. And so they push that on society like that. It's tricks they play, and it goes back and forth, and it's an agenda pushed by the leaders of the society or the people who invest in certain things in society. And most times it's about money, it's about influence, it's about power. It's behind the scenes. They may not even agree with these ideas themselves. They just know it's going to move, it's going to push society a certain direction, and I'm going to be able to market this, sell this, do this for a time, and it was going to push it in this direction. So it's a big agenda. It's on some, Illuminati level, and I don't believe in Illuminati, but there is a group of people, and I think the group changes, I think the people changes. But there's always a group that controls the world, that controls society, that controls parts of the world or industries or whatever. And they work to keep power. And they know they gotta keep the people, going in whatever direction is most beneficial for them to keep power. But that's pretty much the message. This is the Bag Show, and I'm just telling you what I think and what I feel about what we know and about what we don't. Peace out. Love y'all.